Alright, what's going on everybody? Welcome back to another video here on the channel, and today we're going to be doing an update video about the monkeypox outbreak. Now, we talked about this in a couple other videos as everything's kind of started and the first few cases began to roll in, and then of course when it started to spread a little bit more. But at this point there's been a lot of updates to the situation that I want to talk about. There's a lot of new information, and honestly, scientists and doctors are pretty baffled at how this is all happening and what exactly is going to happen next. So I wanted to talk about this all again. Is this going to be the next COVID-19 type of situation? I think that's kind of what's been in pretty much everybody's mind since this outbreak really started to begin and make rounds in the news. Obviously, we just got out of a global pandemic, not even really got out of a global pandemic, we're still technically in it, you know what I mean? There's still plenty of cases of COVID every day, but, you know, we're getting to that point where everything's returning to normal, right? And people are so fatigued when it comes to diseases and whatnot. And then now you have all this media coverage of a brand new outbreak now regarding monkeypox. And obviously, a lot of people are afraid because they don't know too much about monkeypox. We don't really know what's going on with it, what's going to happen next. And of course, now the big fear is that we're going to see a COVID-19 like outbreak where basically millions of people end up with monkeypox. Now, of course, that's not what's happened yet. So in this video, I want to stay away from, you know, projecting what's going to happen, I guess, with this disease. I don't want to sit here and speculate on what could potentially happen because, I mean, let's be honest, you know, I'm not any sort of doctor or scientist. I have no idea when it comes to what could potentially happen. The only thing we really know is what the scientists and the doctors can tell us now. And to be honest, it's not a whole lot of good. So, a monkeypox outbreak continues to grow in countries where the virus isn't normally found, putting global health officials on high alert. Now with more than 643 cases of monkeypox in dozens of countries where the virus is not endemic, the sudden appearance of monkeypox in many countries at the same time suggests there may have been an undetected transmission for some time, World Health Organization Director General Tedros Adhanom Ghebreyesus said on Wednesday. The virus has been circulating for decades in some places, including parts of West and Central Africa. In early research posted this week, scientists at the Institute of Evolutionary Biology at the University of Edinburgh described how the genetic pattern they're seeing suggests that, quote, there has been sustained human-to-human transmission since at least 2017. In that research, genetic sequences show that the first monkeypox cases in 2022 appeared to have descended from an outbreak that resulted in cases in Singapore, Israel, Nigeria, and the United Kingdom from 2017 to 2019. Michael Warraby, an evolutionary biologist and professor at the University of Arizona who was not involved in the research, said it suggests that, quote, this outbreak has been going on for a long time locally, as in where the virus is endemic. And it means the world has failed to protect those in resource-limited areas where it has been endemic and to control it at its source before it spread globally, he added. Quote, it's really a tale of two outbreaks, Warraby said. We need to actually turn our attention to where it's been spreading and start caring about that population just as much as we care about what's going on in all these other countries around the world. If research continues to show that the virus has spread more among humans than previously thought, more distant from an animal source that is, Warraby said one, quote, really good question is, why wouldn't the world think monkeypox can be endemic in places beyond West and Central Africa? So, I honestly don't remember this, or remember hearing about it at least, but apparently there was an outbreak of monkeypox in Singapore, Israel, Nigeria, and the United Kingdom from 2017 to 2019, and apparently that particular outbreak is where this particular outbreak kind of came from, right? So apparently there's been sustained human-to-human transmission since at least 2017, meaning that in local areas where, you know, monkeypox is more normalized and, you know, it's more endemic, this particular outbreak has been going on for the better part of probably about 5 years now, and it's just kind of getting to the point where it's broken out of its containment zone or whatever, and it's spreading to countries like here in the United States where monkeypox is a lot more rare. Now the worry is, could this become endemic in countries where it's not normally endemic? Now, obviously, if monkeypox were to become legitimately endemic, that could spell a pretty big problem, but I think another thing that we really want to point out here is just how many cases have actually unfolded. We have 643 cases in dozens of countries. That is honestly quite a big outbreak, you know? Like, that's hundreds of cases. You gotta think, pretty much every major outbreak of anything ever started with hundreds of cases. And it seems like it is spreading somewhat rapidly, not to maybe the degree that COVID spread when it first started, but I mean, it went from like a couple of cases to a few dozen cases, and then now we're hearing about it, it's a few hundred cases. And if it keeps up at this rate, the next time we talk about this there could be thousands of cases worldwide. Now let's talk about your odds, I guess, of getting monkeypox. Are you potentially going to end up with it? Well, I don't totally know. There's plenty of different ways that monkeypox can spread, but it's usually through direct human contact. Right now, the leading theory on how this whole thing really started, the whole outbreak here really started, is from sex at 2 raves in Europe. And some of the research has shown that this is starting to be spread in a sexual manner, almost like an STD, but not particularly an STD. So I guess that's kind of something to watch out for, you know, potential people who think they might be at risk. But a lot of the people who've been infected so far are actually people who have traveled internationally, many of them to places where, you know, monkeypox is actually endemic and it is a lot more common, and they've brought it back, right? But of course, that's how this kind of thing spreads. You got to think this is spreading through sexual contact or even through like bodily fluids and like close human contact. That could mean that people could spread it in other places where it isn't endemic, and we've already seen that here in the United States, where as of me recording this video, there's almost 24 cases of monkeypox, and that's probably going to end up climbing in the next few days as well, as it has been climbing pretty steadily since this entire first outbreak has really started. Now, what's really worrying to me personally is scientists and doctors are pretty baffled at what's going to happen next. They really don't know. In fact, they're pretty confused themselves, it sounds like. And what it sounds like here is we're talking about everybody is getting to this very early. All the science on this is still pretty early. We do have vaccines and stuff like that for monkeypox. But when it comes to this potentially being a larger outbreak globally or becoming endemic in other countries, they still don't really know what the outcome could potentially be. World Health Organization officials say the global public health risk is moderate. Quote, the public health risk could become high if this virus exploits the opportunity to establish itself as a human pathogen and spreads to group at higher risk of severe disease, such as young children and immunosuppressed persons, according to a World Health Organization risk assessment issued Sunday, which added that, quote, immediate action from countries is required to control further spread among groups at risk, prevent spread to the general population, and avert the establishment of monkeypox as a clinical condition and public health problem in currently non-endemic countries. In a news briefing last week, an official with U.S. Centers for Disease Control and Prevention said that it's, quote, too early to tell whether the virus could become endemic in the United States, but that experts remain, quote, hopeful that won't happen. Quote, I think we're in the very early days of our investigations, said Dr. Jennifer McQuiston, Deputy Director of the CDC's Division of High Consequence Pathogens and Pathology. McQuiston pointed out that the virus didn't become endemic after the last monkeypox outbreak in the United States in 2003, when pet prairie dogs led to dozens of infected people across multiple states. Quote, we're hopeful we'll be able to similarly contain this, McQuiston said. The European CDC appeared to agree with McQuiston in its own assessment last week, saying there's no evidence that the virus established itself in U.S. wildlife after authorities conducted, quote, an aggressive campaign for exposed animals during the 2003 outbreak. According to the European agency, quote, the probability of this spillover event is very low. Still, it wouldn't be the first virus to take up residence in a U.S. animal population, said Dr. Amish Adaja, senior scholar at the Johns Hopkins Center for Health Security at the Bloomberg School of Public Health. Before 1999, West Nile virus was unheard of in the United States. Now it's the leading cause of mosquito-borne disease in the country. So it wouldn't be completely impossible for something like monkeypox to become endemic in the United States, but as of right now, doctors at the CDC and everything are pretty optimistic that that's not going to happen. It really depends on our response to this entire thing. If we continue to let this fester and get out of control, there is the potential that a wider issue could end up happening. Now, obviously, a lot of people's hope, I guess, in the CDC is pretty much diminished after the COVID-19 outbreak, so I guess we'll see what the public reaction to this is. But I just wanted to provide a little bit of an update video to you guys and get some new information out there. So with that being said, thank you guys for watching. If you did enjoy, make sure to leave a like, subscribe if you're brand new around here on the channel, follow me over on Twitter and Facebook at @SubToOptimus. Make sure to check out Shoptimus down below, and until my next video, guys, this is Optimus, well, talking about monkeypox and signing out.